Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News. It is Thursday, November 6th, here at the South Florida Conservative News site. And sorry for us being a day late because we did a very long text version of the story about the new mayor of New York and what can be done to deal with him. And also, of course, what would we say? He's not going to really be able to do anything. He's going to make a lot of trouble for some people. He's going to make life very impossible for other people. If you get a chance, you'll see people that are going out now and showing you the voting record, and that the majority of the working poor of New York did not vote for this idiot. It was the guilt-ridden hundred and some $1,000 a year professional female. So you figure that one out, right? So we're going to turn to the election of Zohran Mamdani. And we have it this sparked fascination and alarm. We did an article on him when he first started, and they got good reviews. So we're going to go forward and say that he is promising some even additional radical changes to what we had first reported. He's going to have his rent freezes, his free buses, his municipal grocery stores, but his election is something much deeper. It is how ideology collides with the legal limits of the American system. And that's what we're really going to talk about here. And as we could say, we like the classics. So a quick quote, Machiavelli, if you remember Niccolo Machiavelli, he once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." And that perfectly describes New York's new mayor. Mamdani now controls one of the largest stages in the world. It's the city of New York. Like it or not, it's the most important in many ways city in the United States. And to some, it exemplifies everything that is whatever good and prosperous in the United States. Go figure, right? But it is a stage with narrow legal boundaries. He cannot freeze rents without state approval. He cannot make public transit free, as the MTA is controlled by Albany. He cannot raise income taxes without legislative consent. Still, he isn't going to let that get in the way of a good story. He doesn't need to succeed administratively to gain power politically. He has his true weapon, which is perception. He is going to follow the Gavin Newsom, AOC, people like that habit of failing upwards. And if he can fail upwards correctly, he will move to AOC's seat while AOC moves to Chuck Schumer's seat, which all of these socialist, communist scumbags have been trying to get Schumer out of. Every failure becomes proof that the system is rigged against the people. So we already just told you he can't do any of the things by law that he says he's going to do. And nobody fact checked him, right? Or if they did, they didn't do it loud enough because the media wanted this, because the media was told this is what needs to be done. Because we'll get into one of the many reasons a little bit later. So that is Machiavellian politics in its purest modern form. Transform weakness into moral strength. And that is exactly what we're seeing here. So at first glance, Mamdani's general looks like a checklist on urban populism. Freeze the rents, tax the rich, subsidize everything. But beneath the surface, you're going to have a deeper narrative. He is blending domestic socialism with international activism, linking housing and policing in New York to global themes of colonialism and resistance. In his rhetoric, landlords, Wall Street, and even certain U.S. allies become part of the same oppressive machine. Dare I say the Jews are going to get a lot of grilling in the next couple of years. It is a moral story designed to turn local politics into a global cause. And in an era dominated by social media and symbolism, that makes him less a mayor and more a movement figure, which is all he can be. He cannot be an administrator because he knows nothing. And he will use City Hall as a platform for ideological projection unless somebody smacks him on the nose with a newspaper every single day he's in office. But once again, his failure will be reinforcing to his servants that he was doing the right thing and has been stopped by the man. So the irony here is the more the system restrains him, the stronger his narrative becomes. When Albany refuses a millionaire tax or blocks a rent freeze, Mamdani will go, "Hey, I tried to do it. I'm fighting for the people against the establishment." If the courts strike down his executive orders, that too becomes proof that democracy is owned by the elites, aka the man, right? He doesn't have to govern successfully. He only has to be overly dramatic every time he fails. And that is called weaponized failure. It is one of the major models of the Democrat Party, or as we say, failing upwards, right? It's the art of losing strategically. It's also been embraced over the last decades by Euro friends, most Muslim terrorists. That is what Hamas has been big for. That is what Hezbollah is big for. And that's what Iran now is big for. They lose, but they say, well, we didn't really lose. We were just on a different tack now. So that's where you see this outcome is political theater designed to entrench loyalty among supporters who see obstruction as persecution. They no longer understand the rule of law. They don't understand what's right and wrong. They just like this guy for whatever reason. In reality, the mayor of New York operates under very tight legal guardrails. Housing regulation, taxation, and transit policy are all matters of state and shared jurisdiction. Even budget flexibility is limited by state oversight and federal grant conditions. What Mamdani can do is reorient the tone and spending within existing agencies. He can steer contracts, which he will, to his buddies, public messaging, and appointments toward his ideological allies. He can elevate activist nonprofits through discretionary funding. He can embed rhetoric in public education and turn City Hall into a megaphone for very unpopular DEI, trans positive, fucking whatever else he's up to that week. Because at some point, someone's going to realize you can't be the best Muslim and love the gays at the same time. Hasn't really sunk in yet, but it will. So that's where the line stops. The structure of New York governance, which is shaped by generations of state statutes and federal law, ensures that his grander economic experiments will remain mostly symbolic. Once again, in Machiavellian terms, he commands auctoritas, not arthritis, auctoritas, the stage, not potestas, the sword. Okay, so what does Mamdani really mean? What is he really about? What is this movement? It's a test of whether the American system can absorb ideological extremism without collapsing under itself. If the laws and institutions of the state hold firm, and they will, most of his promises will fade away within days of them being brought up against a hard wall of legal authority. Governor Hochul will actually have to do something. It is going to be a major challenge for the Democratic Party of the state of New York and also the Democratic National Convention to keep this asshole in line if possible. He is more of a danger to them now than he is to the people of New York City. But does not make him irrelevant. It makes him a warning that charismatic leaders, grievances, and moral spectacle can sometimes outshine results, especially in a city where you don't have to show identification to vote. You can go online right now and look at the many videos that citizens have taken where they say, "Do you want to see my ID?" And they're like, "No, we don't need to see ID. We have the signature card." Oh, really? Like you're going to look at that? Give me a break. It makes Mamdani a warning. All right. And it would be something you could call the tyranny of the appearance of virtue. For the citizens of New York and for the nation watching, the challenge ahead isn't only economic or political, it's whether we still understand that the strength of the republic lies not in passion, but in process. Okay? And that's really where this is all going to come down to. He did not win by much. He was slated to have this gigantic firestorm. But when, as I said, you looked at it, the working poor, working is the word, not the illegal immigrant, the working poor, and most of the middle class voted against him. To vote for Cuomo had to have been tough for some of these people because we know Cuomo killed people during COVID. He's a murderer. And yet he was a better choice than this guy because this guy's ideas can possibly kill more people than Cuomo did during COVID. And then you have Curtis Sliwa, who just whatever the hell was going on there. No Republican will ever win New York. A Republican a Democrat who is in the John F. Kennedy mold is what you need. You need somebody like that, and they should go forward. It's funny, all these commies, and they never bring up a woman. They never have a woman who can run for that office. Amazingly so. You had to have a half gay socialist, a socialist faking Muslim Brotherhood supported shitbag. So that's basically what you have. If you want to see our full details and what can be done as a New York citizen and as a New York State resident, go to www.southfloridaconservative.com or go to the South Florida Conservative Substack. The information is in both places. If you have any comments, feel free to make them. Any suggestions for further videos or future videos, I'm sorry, let me know. And like I said, don't get so crazy about this. This is much different than I would be more worried about what's going on during the government shutdown than what this moron is up to. Because he is going to do all kinds of photo ops. But like I said, get your Muslim Brotherhood friends and your gay friends in the same room together and see what happens. That's all you have to worry about with that. It will sort itself. Unfortunately, the real losers here are once again the people of the city of New York, and that's not actually true. The real losers here are the people of the state of Florida, where I live, because we have to have all these losers move back down here for 4 years and mess up the rental prices and the cost of everything because they were so politically uninvolved that they couldn't run a decent person against a guy who really couldn't even, he shouldn't have won an election for his eighth grade class presidency. But that's just me or here. So F you guys in New York, you got what you deserved. Let's just roll with it. And nationwide, start building borders against people like this. If you understood how their election system worked, you would say, my God, how did you not do anything to stop this from happening? They knew their election system, they allowed it to happen, and they got what they got. But the scary thing for you people to remember is the big radical socialists out there are educated, wealthy people. That's how fucking dumb they are because they never had a hard day in their life. So that's about it. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you later.